Hello, and would you like to do it? I am Marie Muratalla.
Laurie Cook.
Welcome to our third episode of the podcast and the show. I feel like it's a show, like a YouTube show.
I think so.
Like a Mr. Rogers, but for adults.
Oh, yes. I do have sweater changes.
Okay, let's go.
No, let's get right into it.
Yeah, let's.
What we're going to talk about today?
Today we're going to talk about making choices. Because you started telling me something. It's kind of nice because today was a professional development day for us. So I was in meetings with like my preschool team and teachers, Gen Ed teachers, special education teachers and all that all day. So like I feel like I have this like all these ideas and stuff. Mm-hmm. But then what were we talking about? And you were telling a story about specifically making choices. And I said, we need to talk about this on the podcast.
Well, I'm not sure what brought it up, but one of the things that I like to do is find out what their interests are. Especially in the beginning. What are they interested in? So I put out, let's say it's the very first week of school. And I put out... I have my centers like dramatic play, science area, I call it the city because there's building toys, there's trucks and cars, there's even a little fix-it shop in there. Cute. And everybody has different things. I had things that I could find or were donated to me. But I make them work so that they're applying real life skills to their play. Mm-hmm. And then in that first couple weeks, I'm watching what they're doing and I'm coordinating the curriculum with those things that are on their mind that they're already going to gravitate to, and I try to pull that into the curriculum. Mm-hmm. But what we do is we make actual, they think about what there is. This is what I was teaching them. In the beginning they can't do this, they don't understand it, but the goal is to have them have a plan for what they want to do in each center. Okay. And if they know what's coming, if they know what's going to be there, then they can think, I think, I saw my friend doing such and such with the Play-Doh, and maybe he's thinking, I want to make pancakes with that. Or So just a real quick example, one friend was using these twisty builders, and you can twist them in all these directions and make long twisty links, or he discovered you could make circles, and he decided they were donuts. Well, this friend likes to make signs. He knew how to spell donut. He asked me how to spell shop. So he makes his sign, and he has the choice because everything is open. Where they could choose some markers or they can choose the easel painting. But he had the choice to go get whatever he needed to make the sign, and he taped it up on the, he built a window stand, like a window to sell through. And he built that out of these big foam blocks that I have. And he stuck it on there, and I make a big deal about, wow, what a great idea, so that the other kids can hear the choice that this friend made matters.
Yeah. Okay.
But I know, maybe that was a different answer than you wanted, but that's one of my favorite examples.
All I asked you was to tell the story, but I
don't even know. I have so many.
Oh, I know.
But one little ending part. So the next following week, I made the dramatic play into a donut shop. By following his lead, if I may.
Well, yeah.
Because that's what I believe in. And,
and that... Like, research is showing that child-led learning it's so good. Like, it's so key to giving them the ability, and especially when we look at communication, like choice making that's why I was thinking, let's talk about that more in the podcast, because, like, for me, I know choice making is such a foundational level of language expression.
Right.
And being able to express yourself and your thoughts and your ideas starts with that ability to express your preference for something. And so when you understand that you can make a choice, and whether you're verbally expressing it, whether you're non-verbally expressing it, and that's why I'm big on all the visuals and opportunities to make choices however a student needs to. It's so beneficial to them because it not only builds up, a skill in their language abilities and their, academically does it build up a skill, but like socially and confidence wise, it's also very empowering, when they learn, oh, I can choose that I want goldfish for a snack. I don't have to have the yogurt you put out. Like, and so that's a big reason why in my realm of it all, like I go in and I'm telling teachers, like, take the snacks like away from don't just hand them whatever it is that you're offering. Like, give them the ability to ask for it, but give them a choice of what to ask for. Because it also, as an educator or like in my position, it makes your life a little bit easier. And it also is because you're not you're not just giving them what you have available and not giving them a choice. You are, how am I trying to say it? Because then in that situation, if they can't tell you that they want something different or that that's not what, their choice, and if you strip that ability for them to make a choice, that causes communication breakdowns. So not that I do things to make my life easier.
No, but in the end, if people can communicate with you, it's easier. Yeah,
and they thrive. They thrive. They learn.
One of the key words you said was confidence. Mm-hmm. That's huge. If you're confident, you're going to express your creativity. Yeah. You're going to express your thoughts. You're going to be able to say to a friend, this is mine right now, but I can give it to you when I'm done.
Right.
Which is huge, And if there, there's teachers, probably not in our district, but that may not even be paying attention to kids that are at play. Those are the opportunities that you will discover what they understand and how they're interacting and how you can teach them those social skills that are foundational.
I very much believe all behavior is a form of communication. So if you're stripping away those choices, you're stripping away an opportunity for that child to participate in an interaction. Therefore, the frustration happens, the breakdown happens, and then we see a behavior because they are trying so hard to communicate what they want.
And so frustrated.
And so when we help them by giving them a choice and giving that power to them, then, we are just, maybe I shouldn't have said make it easier on us. I think I'm just coming from a point of like, by following their lead, by giving them these opportunities, you enhance the joy in the classroom environment. Yeah. And it does make it a little bit more cohesive and united.
Well, when everything's joyful and flowing, it is easy. But no lie, you have to stop and watch. Yes. And sometimes it means you have to come up with purple paint. If you don't have purple paint, you may have to try your best anyway to get purple, whatever it is.
Do you mean like stop and watch them, like observe, see what kinds of choices they're making so you can make sure those are like available?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I full on ask.
Yeah.
Can you, friends, if you want to do something that you see that's not necessarily out today, because, you can't have everything out, right? But everything's open, and sometimes I don't think they think they're allowed to touch anything but what the teacher puts in front of them or whatever.
Sure.
And that's not where I come from. I come from where things are an option, but we learn how to put them away when we're done and that kind of thing. So it's not chaotic. But one little girl asked me for, I call it PUD. Remember it? Cornstarch and water. Best thing. And because we were doing some sensory things and she was I really want to play with that white stuff again. And I remembered and I said, okay, it will be out tomorrow. But I changed something else. I decided to put 2 seats of Play-Doh and then 2 seats of the PUD just because it was sensory or something. But the point is, I'm listening, I'm paying attention, and that's what makes it smooth.
Yeah. Well, and that's, you literally look up, not look up, but like any SLP will be like, oh, you're saying observe, wait, and listen, the OWL acronym, like we all learned in grad school.
Oh.
Yes.
I guess I do.
Yeah, but that's the whole point is like, these are things like, we're specifically talking about maybe making choices and why that's important in early childhood education. But like all of the other stuff, it just is ingrained too. the confidence building, the social skills, the time taken to observe and like really see what your students are doing and assess how can I, you know, if you come from my perspective, I'm all about like, okay, how can we build in communication temptations for my kids? Because they have goals to request. They have goals to comment or to describe or to make choices specifically. I have goals for kids that are like, will demonstrate the ability to make a choice or whatever that maybe they're working on with the teacher and I can kind of help modify things for. And so when I think about like, how do I start? Where do I start? I start by watching, and I take time to truly like sit back, watch what they're doing, watch what their special interests or passions are. That way I can always have those things incorporated into the center I bring in, you know, or if it's the free choice and I know they love cars, like suggesting to the teachers like, hey, like please make that an option every day. Because that's where we're going to get more motivation, intrinsic motivation for the language. We don't want them to work and use language so they can get the car. We want it out because we know that that's a choice that they like, and then we can, you know, always have that as an option for them. Do you want to play cars or do you want to play bubbles? And it's always probably going to be cars, and maybe one day it will be bubbles, but we always give them the option. We always give them that autonomy because they have just as much a right to be a part of that classroom as we do, you know? I mean, they have more of a right.
It's their classroom. We're there for them.
And yeah, so when we take that time, we can sit back. And then, you know, as an educator, like that's really truly how you start being open-minded to be able to accommodate your classroom for all your kids with all kinds of needs. And you just sit back. It sounds like, oh yeah, take a break. I mean, you're not taking a break.
I'm not breaking at all.
You're breaking it down. You're like...
Was it yesterday? I sat in the middle. Everybody was just flowing. It's most days. And it was a rainy day yesterday for us. In the morning, it was raining.
Yeah,
my group didn't get to, it was kind of unexpected, but I modify quickly. There's no outside choice, but I actually made a doorway outside choice because there was a very loud truck that they were doing this thing with, and I'm like, I'm not telling them to stop. I allowed them to play. I can't do it, but I thought, can we move it right here? You know, because I'm serious, it was giving me a headache, but anyway, everything was fine. So they were doing this, so I thought I'd stop and watch. They're fascinated by the marble game. And that tracking is so amazing, and figuring out how to make it fall through and travel and all of that language, right? Yeah. And so the next step was I bought a little mini one so that they could see the difference and see how that works. But at any rate, and then the other group was over there and they were working with the toy eggs and stuff. So I decided I'm going to go over there and see if they'll answer my door knock, you know, and just how lit up they get when you play with them, you know.
When you play with them and you honor, again, back to following their lead, back to acknowledging their choices. Like,
exactly,
you're acknowledging them and their perspectives.
Right.
I always tell parents, I think I might have said this last time on our last recording, but like when kids tell me no, you know, when they start saying no, when you say, do you want to eat? No. Do you want to, and like they mean it, right? They're like, really, no, that's not what I want. Or, you know, oh, I got the cars. No! It's like that, as much as you don't want to hear your kid just saying no, that's them showing a preference. Like that is in a sense, that's a choice. So now, you know, like start, you know, building in those opportunities again to give choices. Right. You know, cars or planes.
Two. You offer two.
Always two.
Reasonable. Reasonable. Nobody has to break their back over it. No. I mean, the adult. No. There's two easy choices. They're going to pick one because they get to.
Yeah.
Right? They don't want to say no because they get to choose something else.
Exactly.
But no is so powerful because they can say it and they understand it means stop, I won't do it.
Also, it's an early speech sound, so sometimes that's what comes first, okay? Sorry.
Oh. And then they get our reaction and...
Well, and that's another thing is, you know, how we react to them. And, like, it's so much easier. in the podcast about mindfulness that I was listening to yesterday, he's talking about dancing with life and not resisting it. And it's like the same thing with kids. I was thinking about it. I was like, oh, so it's like when I resist, a kid who's telling me no or something that's, pushing back my idea for our center time, saying no. And I'm like, instead of saying, nope, this is what we're doing, and I resist that, like, why not flow? Why not flow with it? Because their learning is going to happen when they're more motivated. Yeah. I mean, I get, like, we want to teach them these learn-to-learn skills and to follow a routine. Right. But at this age level...
At this age, at this level...
Those skills are taught, and it, again, research shows... you're more successful with teaching those skills when you are following the lead. And I think now I'm remembering our conversation before we started this. I was talking about, so basically they're talking about changing centers and how we do centers in our preschool program to be more child-led and to be, so instead right now,
so basically... I don't have to change a thing.
No, you're fine.
Hey.
But for the younger kids, they're talking about, because what it is right now for the most part, and some of my teachers do this, some of my teachers don't, and I don't have a problem if my teachers do it differently. I think whatever works for your classroom and your specific students, it makes sense. I think routines are great for kids. I think learning that structure is really great and necessary. And so some of my teachers, their center time activities, the kids are all grouped. And they switch the kids. They're not always with the same kids. But they're grouped. And then they rotate throughout 3 to 4 centers with their group of like 3 kids in a center. And they're told where to go. So like you 4, you're starting at the red table. You 4 are starting in the kitchen play area. You 4 are going to do blocks on the carpet. And then they rotate after 10 minutes. And like, I think that is really helpful for them. In those centers, there's still a lot of open, opportunities to make choices, to follow their lead, but they're learning that structure of just kind of following a schedule, right, and a routine. Mm-hmm. Well, they want us to go to more of a child-led approach where, like you do it, where they have their pictures on a stick, and they have to go and find, like, well, if there's too many kids in this center, I have to figure it out and go to the other center. And I like that idea. I'm like, are they old enough to get the concept of, like, there's already 4 kids and then I'm going to go? I mean, it's going to take a while for the teachers to get used to how they're going to modify and support the kids, because I think it's going to take a lot of, like, let's count together. It's going to take time, to help them figure that out.
And and I've been jotting down thoughts since I started back, because we established on our first show that I haven't been back in a classroom with this age group for 30 years plus. And so I had to watch what happened. I went for it, fixed all the sticks and did all the work and did everything. And I'm like, we'll see how it goes. And we'll see. And I've made changes. At the first 2 months, there was a change a week.
Sure. On
different things. Sure. But the basic foundation was there. And the routine was there of how they get their stick. But now we have, there's a lot that's different. I'm curious how to watch when I start next year, the beginning, because I think I will have different insight and I might change things. But.
Well, and you have to stay open to that change too. Exactly. The kids are all different. Your group next year it may just interact differently with with you or whatever. And that's, again, the importance of making sure you build in that time to watch them, watch what choices they're making. If they're struggling with those kinds of things, making sure that you build in those opportunities for them to make choices, because then you learn about them.
The first choice they have in the day is, and it's not happening as much because they're choosing not to do this anymore, because I'll quickly tell you, I have a rope with different colored bow ties, like, let's say, and when they set their backpacks on them when they enter the class, when they enter the school, and that's where they're going to pick up their backpack and put it on, and then they'll hold the handle, and that will be their spot, their walking space as we travel to, because I'm not in a traditional classroom, so I don't have bathrooms, we have to do potty tries and that kind of thing. We don't use the rope really very much anymore.
Yeah, like it's one of those things that you, through their choice making, you've been able to,
and through their development and their level of security. Now they choose a friend. So we hold hands and we walk in pairs, and so we're talking about a concept, right? A pair. Or I asked, do you want to do a line? Mm-hmm. And then one little girl, she's been working hard to get her thoughts across, and she has a many. But she asked me, can we build a train in her way? And I said, show me. Because I knew she wanted something on the walk to the parents. And she cupped my hands and she said, all or something. Just, I knew what she meant just by the sign language, I guess she was doing. And because I really wanted to know. And so, I said, oh, this girl, I can't say names, but this girl has an idea. And so we're doing it like this. She says we do it like this. Everybody loves it. We still do it.
Yeah.
And that was way before our holidays.
But that's it. That's like, you give them those opportunities to make choices, and then it just builds.
But how does she feel? And they're thriving. And I have to say, I have the chills because I know I see what I saw from the beginning. Who wasn't wonderful when you're 4, but they're just thriving. They're making all these choices, making all these commitments, behavior choices we make.
Yeah.
What, and we talk about all these different things that they're doing all the time, and there's no time for anything but following their lead in my classroom.
That's how it should be.
Yeah.
So yesterday in the class I was pushing into, we were getting ready for our afternoon session, and the kids were just coming in, and one of the teachers was like, I am so tired.
Some days we're tired.
And they have a couple kids in that class that are really like take charge type of kids. Mm. And I go, why don't you just have so-and-so do circle time?
That's
like as a joke.
Oh, I do it.
But I kind of, like, I'd be so down, So then the other teacher goes, she looks at me like, wait, should we? Like, as if it's my decision. And I'm like, go for it.
Say, give it a go.
So on the days I push in, I do lead a portion of the circle time. So it was really cute because we asked him, do you want to? It wasn't like, you're doing it, bud.
Oh, yeah.
We asked him, and he was like, yeah? What? And I just thought, how cool could this be if, like, every kid every once in a while gets that chance? I'm sure they'll do it again because it was the cutest thing.
Yeah.
But also just so good for him,
Yeah.
And, like...
It's another word for cute would be rewarding.
Rewarding.
It's so rewarding.
But it's adorable. You're just like... So it was just fun because, they do all their little things, and he'd be like, I forgot what's next. And you're like, oh, it's okay. And it's cute because they have like their visual schedule for all the kids is on magnets that are like kind of high up. Mm. And so right after it was my turn to talk, they always line up and go do their potty try. But like even when he was introducing me, I said, are you going to introduce me? He goes, Miss Ann. And I was like, okay, thank you. But like when I was doing my part of it, he wanted to stay up there with me and point to all the words I was going over because I do like a big...
Well, you did put him in charge.
Core board thing. Oh, I was all about it. Like it was so... Because I said, why don't you ask them if... Like, quiz your friends, basically. Do they remember this sign? Do they remember this sign? And so he was doing that. And then I did my little story. And then when we were all done, he needed to go through the schedule because they always do that. They go, did we come in today? Yes. Did we do our commitments? Yes. Like, but he couldn't reach, because the thing is way up on the board, the schedule. So instead of saying like, you're all done, I'm like, because the teachers were getting ready to say, okay, it's okay, just go sit down, and I'm like, no. And I like shoved them all down because they're magnets. So I just bring them all down. Yeah. I'm like, let him check it off. And like,
that's part of it. That's what the teacher does.
And the thing I love about it, because I have kids that are, my speech kids that are working on these communication skills. And like, I will always advocate for peer models in their classrooms because they would so much rather do things their peers do. So they saw their peer up there getting to be teacher for circle time. And can I also tell you, there was not one kid talking during circle time for the first time in 4 months yesterday. Like they were because their peer was up there. They were just so enthralled.
Yeah.
I was like, we got to do this more. I got to tell the other teachers to do it too because I just thought it was the coolest thing. Like
it is very cool. It's similar to my opening where they all have a class job, and one of the jobs is greeting each child, and the other job is helping a child enter the room calmly with
I like that.
With this breath. We call it a star breath, and And so they all have these things. Somebody else is sitting by the commitment chart, which is something you guys also were doing, and reminding them, holding the box of names, and they love to do that. Oh, you need to make your commitment, and we all say it nicely. Yeah. You know, maybe in the beginning it was like, you didn't do. Oh, let's just remind them gently.
Yeah.
You know, and then they do from then on, and they all love their part like that, and that's the adorable thing, right? It's adorable, but it's so valuable.
Oh, yeah.
So valuable and so rewarding.
Yeah. Well, most of those moments that bring us that kind of joy in the classroom, they're the rewarding, valuable moments. Like, yeah, this is adorable, but it's because it's like, it's good so joyful, and it's, it's just, and it's all about, you know, that connection that they're building, and with their peers, with us, but also just to learning in general. Yeah, no, and I, you know, just to bring this home with choice making. Yeah. But I think that, you know, when we look at all those things in their routine, in the classroom, in their joyful, happy classroom, like, there are so many ways as educators we can make sure we're building that in. And again, you first start by observing, listening, looking, like paying attention to each individual student. What are they passionate about? So how can I build these things into the school day? You know, they love being on the playground. Well, like, for some of my kids that are, you know, very persistent about having playground time, like, maybe they can be the ones that get to choose, like, who's all lining, like, when kids line up for the playground time. Like, just to build in those opportunities, you know, choose the next friend, make a choice. They have those opportunities when your kids come in to make greetings, or what jobs they want. What kind of, you know, breathing technique do you want to do today?
Yeah. I invent jobs based on something I see happening, like my donut friend, he happens to have a lot of ideas. One day he was making sure that the rope was straight on the cement crack. And I said, wow, friend, of course I used their names. But
we don't.
I mean, I do say friend here and there, but mostly I would use.
We acknowledge them by their birth given name
most of the time. Yes, so. But anyway, I said, you know, do you think that should be a class job?
Yeah.
And I said, then when your turn to do a different job happens, you could teach the other friend.
Yeah.
I could.
Yeah. So empowering.
Yeah, it's so, and that is the foundation for feeling successful, about being able to sit down at a table and practice your name, or practice the letters, and talk about the academic stuff, because that has to be there.
Yeah.
They need those skills too. But how can you incorporate them in, like, constantly in your day, so that it's not feeling like we have to sit here for 20 minutes and fill out this page of whatever. It's just not developmentally appropriate. And, you know, so the first, they walk into quiet, calm. This is edited from the beginning of the year. When the beginning of the year, they made their choices. Then I was able to do that assessment, and then I started vamping it just naturally, like seeing how it would flow.
Yeah.
Now they come in slowly because they're doing a greeting and that breathing, and someone's doing the commitment chart, and everybody's busy.
They've all got a job.
For 10 minutes, it seems like, and they're trickling in, and they're sitting, and there's quiet, calm music, and they're talking, and it is talk about adorable. They're chatting with each other, and then I'll lean over, because I'm in the door jamb between both worlds, and I'm saying, wow, I hear you talking about the snack you brought. Sounds delicious. And then, you know, I'm over here and I'm just pointing things out, just little here and there. And I don't know, I probably would suggest, you know, somebody has a painting on the wall that might want to tell about that. Just kind of like random, like I'm just thinking out loud, you know, not pointing to anybody.
Yeah.
And they're just taking those suggestions however they take them, but they're doing that, they're talking, and they're socializing, and that gives me an opportunity to say, right now you need to put your folder in your cubby or wherever, and then you can go and socialize. So they know there's that routine, there's that system,
it can be built in.
Yes, that schedule. This is kind of how we need to do things, right? But then there's freedom. Then this is when you get to do that. Oh, you want to run? I can tell your feet want to run. Tell your feet to wait till we go outside. because that's when we can run.
Yeah, or give them a choice of other things they can do with their feet, right?
Right,
like,
but
if your feet need to move, maybe they can tap. You can count to 4 with your feet.
okay.
You know, or do you want to count to 4 with your feet, or do you want to jump 5 times, or like whatever? I don't know, that's what I give my students. Like,
I like it.
Like little things. Like, I notice you need this, so you give them a choice, right? You figure out, okay, what is this kid like gravitate towards that's going to help in this moment to maybe release some of that little wiggly energy, or you know, whatever it might be.
So I was thinking we should name these different podcasts like they do on Friends, and this one would be called The One with the Choices.
The One with the Choices. It's funny because I was just on a podcast. I think she does that too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I just thought of it organically.
Well, it's okay. Well, now it's documented, right? And I've, you know, yeah, no. And it's funny because that's where I first announced this podcast. It was on her podcast.
Oh.
So anybody that has listened to this episode has already like DM'd me on Instagram like, I'm so excited. When's your first episode coming out?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
that's exciting.
So it's kind of cool because I'm like, we had, when did we talk? We had our podcast the day after you and I decided to start this one. I went on hers and recorded with her, and she's like, so are there any upcoming projects you have? And I was like, I don't know if I should announce it, but then I was like, well, if I announce it, then it has to happen. And she's like, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful it did, because I think when you said that you already have somebody that asked a question, I'm like, that excites me so much, because no different than following a kid's lead, we're going to follow your lead.
Right.
Because we got to know what it is you're experiencing, and what how you see it, or how you want us to see what you're seeing, or whatever. You know what I mean?
Like what will bring value to your speech room, to your classroom, like from that either one of us can either tell you about and through our experiences, or through what we've just learned through, the literature. Like, I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll answer the questions.
Yeah, if you read something that's research-based and want to share it, we could bring it up. We'll research it with you and figure it out.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. But on that note, so I can get to editing so we can get the first one out.
We got cheers.
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 And see you next time, or talk to you next time.